Hello, hello, hello. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. I am Robyn,
And I'm
and
Gil.
that's Gil. And we are Rockin the Love. That's what we're here to
Today.
do today. And that's what we do every week at this time. And we're so glad you're joining us. Please let us know. We'd love to chat with you and hear your thoughts and ideas in the chat or like us on all of our social media platforms and do all the things we're expected to do these days.
check out our YouTube channel. Take care of
Look
stuff.
good, Gil. Hi. He's in New
Hi.
Mexico. I'm in California.
You are, and I am, and yes, it's all good. I am
We are a
here.
successful long distance relationship that no one understands.
Yeah, including us sometimes.
True. It's true. It's true.
Yep, indeed. With a wrench or
So,
two thrown in it every so often. Oh,
yeah.
goodness. Howdy from
Wayne's
Calgary.
here. Howdy, Wayne. Good to see you. Sort of. Good to feel your presence. I know I could feel the fairy dust sprinkle upon us as Wayne entered the room. So
That's
thank you,
right.
Wayne. Thank you, Wayne, for being here. So, how's your week been?
It's been crazy. It's been crazy.
I think, but don't you just think life is made for everybody?
Yeah, it's often
It's a
crazy
question.
all the time.
Are you thinking? Yeah.
No, I am having internet trouble, I think. I
Oh, good.
know,
Good.
it's not
Oh,
working well. And I don't understand why, since I'm on.
well, treat it like it doesn't exist. So it has been a crazy week, and it feels like it's just been a lot of emotions and things happening in the world as well.
Yeah, yeah, a lot of stuff. A lot of
Yeah,
stuff. We've had a lot of changes here and moves and who's where and what's what and living situations and oof.
yeah. But again, we're not. We're not in Syria. And
No,
again, I send love and prayers out to um, Syria and everyone affected
Turkey.
by by Turkey and by everyone affected by the earthquake and beyond. I mean, we could do this every week. We could have a show just on what's going on in the world and
Mm-hmm.
send love and prayers. We're not forgetting all the other places that have things happening and wars and upset. So sending rocking much love out to you, much love and much prayers. So that said, our life is pretty good, right? I mean,
Yeah.
at the end of the day, it's pretty good. So, but there has been a lot of shift and change and movement, and that's what we're talking about today. And what is our topic today?
Our topic is, well, our monthly topic is loving out loud. Today's uncertainty, manifesting from the muck.
Manifesting from the muck.
Yep.
And what does that
And
mean to you?
well, it's the idea of always having to go back. Um, well, go back. It's going to a place that I didn't used to go to or didn't even understand, but it's a place of knowing that it's all in order somehow. And I just have to open to see what's coming forth. And I have to look around for where the manifestation, where the things that I really want are showing up, even though it feels like they're all falling apart. Or they're not so much even falling apart, just that I don't know what's going on.
Yep.
No mud, no lotus.
Wayne's got it right. It's true. And He also said all the world is made of faith and trust and pixie dust. And it's true. If you stand in that long enough, you're able to see the beauty in what's happening around you.
Yeah. And I think for me this week, the uncertainty has just been I haven't known what was going to happen exactly. We've had I went from living on my own to I'm going to be living with a 15-year-old, and I'm going to be in charge, and I'm going to be helping him get through his studies. And um, so then I went from I'm moving to a new place in a senior community to, well, we can't really do that and have someone underaged as a occupant full time, which, a visitor was great, but now an occupant. So that changed. So then, we're looking for new things, and just a lot. It's a lot of shift and change, and all that in the midst of holding the space for the perfection of prosperity and circulation and all of that to happen, not only in my life, but in the life at the center that I lead. So,
Right. Right. And again, I'm going to give it to Wayne, who says, circle of love. And
mm-hmm.
Wayne has an affirmation for you. I can embrace the new.
Mm-hmm.
So, Wayne, it appears to be your show today. You're very enlightening and supportive of this. I really am appreciating this. But it is, all of that is so true, right? What can we really embrace? I can embrace the new. And I mean, what a great affirmation, because in theory it's always new, right? No matter what it is, it's not the good or the bad, it's the new, you know. So
Right.
I really appreciate that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with what's happening. It wasn't what I planned. And because it shows up, it creates a level of uncertainty about the other stuff that fills in around it, and how that works.
Yeah. So that's a whole other show. Let me know enlighten me on what's work that you've planned.
I'm not going to do that right now.
But I mean, that's the saying, right? You want to make God laugh, tell him your plans.
Yep,
I mean,
that's
it's
true.
so, I think that's the thing. It's like how we get stuck in that, in our plans, in our ideas of how it should be, and what it should look like.
Yeah, I used to say that, it was learning to be comfortable in the uncomfortable.
Right.
Yeah, and I think there's a place in which that works for me, and a place in which that I have to really work to get to that place.
Yeah.
Because it's like, oh, it's a little more than I was planning on here. A little. I don't really know how to work with this. That kind of idea.
Okay. Well, we are this is a great conversation, but if we talk about it now, we're going to go right into our topic.
Oh no, we don't want to do that.
Well,
We want to do some
we
other
could do that,
stuff.
and we could save the good news for last. But I'm just saying because those are rich points, because I just think that, so so what you're alluding to is so much about how, for lack of a better word, I'm going to call it, how we're stuck in our story, or how we, oh, look, there's the 15-year-old now.
There he is now, cruising through the background.
Hi, Gio. So, but that's, you know what I mean? We get stuck in our story, and we think it should really look that way.
Mm-hmm.
And, is that the truth? I don't know. I don't, but I mean, anyway, so let's go to the good news. And for those of you that don't know, the good news is a segment where we look at what's good going on in the world, because we
Well,
so often hear about what's not working and what's not good. So
Yeah,
take it
I
away.
think it's encouraging news. It's the stuff that's moving us all forward somehow, inspiring us or creating something new instead of focusing on what didn't go right.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
do you have something for us today?
I do. Do you?
I do.
Okay. Hit it.
Hit it. All right, so I want to introduce a young woman named Juliette Lamour. She's from Ontario, Canada. She's 18, and she just won the second largest jackpot in Canadian lottery history at 48 million Canadian dollars. Woo!
Wow.
I thought that was pretty cool, but that's not really the story. 13 years ago, when she was 5, and she heard about the earthquake in Haiti, she emptied her piggy bank and gave all $61.38 to a charity that was working in Haiti. And it's that thought of, and this was the first time she'd ever played the lottery. She'd never bought a ticket before. She had to call her dad to find out how to buy a ticket because she was just 18 and she'd never done it.
And her
And
grandfather had told her
and
to
her
go buy.
grandfather suggested it just for fun because she's 18, she could do it. Why don't you just buy yourself a ticket just for fun? And but I think the thing there is that, it would be so easy to not connect those things, and yet there's some level at which, as we put things out, things come back in different ways. Not always quite so uh, dramatically, but
It's so true.
they do.
Yeah.
So I thought that was pretty cool.
It is very cool. It's so cool that was my good news last week, Gil.
Really? Did you say it and I didn't?
Clearly, you were not listening to me, but it's okay. It's twice as cool because somebody out there will hear it again as well, and it'll mean something else. So, are you stunned? Are you frozen on my screen? Apparently, you're frozen. So, I will tell you what my good news story is, and that is that there's a woman named Miss Patty, and I'm not exactly sure where she is. She's in the Clarence Central School District, and I don't know where that is, and I couldn't find it anywhere in the article. But she's a bus driver, and she drives little kids to school, and she has made over 7,000 hats for her students that ride the bus, like warm, wintry yarn hats. And it started like 3 decades ago. And she just started making hats to like pass the time and crocheting. She'd never crocheted. And then a kid got on her bus and asked her what she was doing. And she said she was making a hat. And he said, I'd like a hat like that. It would be great for when I go skiing. And she said, okay. And she makes like an elf hat or a hat with pom poms or like a potato sack shaped hat. And she makes it for every student that rides on her bus. And they say that if you know Miss Patty, you not only get a hat, but you also get a friend. And she's just an amazing woman that has no plans of stopping. And I think it's really such a great way to teach kids that adults are friends and safe, and that there's more to their team than just little kids. And my producer, let me introduce him. This is producer Michael Mangus. So we lost Gil.
Yeah, I don't know where Gil happened. He's somewhere in cyberspace, and there's nothing
There's no
I
telling.
can do except come on and say hello to everyone and welcome to Rockin the Love.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Welcome. So I'm assuming he'll pop in at some other time. Um, so yeah, Michael. So our topic today was creating from the muck. How do you
Yep.
feel about that?
Well, I think um, a couple of things. First of all, is that when we feel or when we notice that um, we're in a place that's uncomfortable, I think it's just, for me, I acknowledge it. And the other thing, too, is that to know, even again, to see, for me, to see beyond any appearances. Uh, what may be an appearance may be, again, a way to uh, bring forth my good. So I remember 3 years ago when I was let go from a position in Pittsburgh, and it's like, you look back on it and go, that was a good thing. I got a lot of good out of it. So I think um, even in chaos, that there's an implicit order, uh, and so to know that, and to know that whatever is happening to me is going to turn out okay. I think coming from a place of divine nature. So,
Yeah, I agree. And I think depending on where you are in life, sometimes it's challenging, or depending on the situation, you know. And how how do we turn? How do we begin to do that? I mean, how do we turn? How do we allow those situations not only um, to teach us and inform us, but to grow into the lovingness of it?
right. So for me, it's a part of the power, which a lot of people on the spiritual path miss, is the power of community, is knowing that there's other people there if I let them. And that's the big thing. Am I letting other people in? Now, I do not, if something's happening in my life, there's maybe less than a handful of people that I go to with it. And the people that I go to are individuals who unconditionally love me, that if necessary, they'll say, yeah, what's your part in it? So I think that I don't have, whatever I'm going through, I don't have to do it alone.
Right.
And I have that infinite spirit and all that stuff. I know that, but there's certain people in my life, again, part of my support team. I think that who is outside of my family. Of course, I have Diana, my wife, is part of that. But sometimes, again, the stuff involves her. So that's why that I get public with what's going on in my life with other people that will not judge me, that will unconditionally love and support me, and then, if necessary, call me on my stuff.
Yeah.
And so I think that those are, for me, those are very important things. The other thing too is, no matter what I'm going through, again, I marinate in this stuff all day long with the science, mind, and spirit. I read from the science mind, I read from my Bible, I read from the Bible. I also read from the home study course. So I really, for me, my hour of reading every day really helps me, as far as, no matter what I'm going through, again, to know that it is an appearance. It's real, but it's an appearance, and that can change, and that does change. So, um, yeah, I think one of the things is, for me, is, how can I maintain my peace during the stuff? How can
Right.
I? Yeah,
I think a couple of things you said that I want to just comment on, because I think you said two things really important. You said support team, and you didn't say this, but you alluded to practices. What you do every day, and I think I think those are the things that, when it feels like your world is spinning or you're out of sorts or you can't anchor, that it's so important to have in place, right?
Yeah.
Because you've really got to you've got to be able to center and come back at some level to even know that you need something else,
Right. And the other thing for me is I watch my thinking. How am I thinking about this? Especially when I don't want to do something. Well, okay. Why don't I want to do it? Again, it's all my thinking. It's what's, if I'm thinking it's going to be hard, well, it's even if it's challenging, it's going to be that much more difficult for me to get through it. So, but I think too, especially in relationships, that I I recently did marriage counseling or premarital counseling with a couple, and they were one of my highest on this assessment that I used. They were one of the highest scores on the assessment. It was probably one of the best. Is one of the highest scores I've ever got back in the good. Usually there's some real interesting areas that need to be worked in or worked on. But I went ahead and I got that back. And then on the assessment, it said that both individuals were looking through at their relationship with rose-colored glasses. And I think that's, when you get married, that's a usual response, but I think sometimes it's really good again to say, well, what kind of plan do we have when the shift, and I said shift now, Reverend Gil, I said shift. I did not say the other word, but okay. What kind of plan do I have in place that when it does, are there some tools or things that I can work through? So when I do premarital counseling, I teach them a lot of the tools about, again, how to have a difficult discussion, how to and I say this, I say the first sane person that says, I don't think this is very helpful, is that it's up to them to say, I need a timeout here. Can we discuss this later? Because anything said can and will be used against you. Not in a court of law, but the next time that you have an argument. I'm going to get out, and nice to see everyone, and glad we were able to work out the technical difficulty.
All right.
Yay, round of applause for producer Michael Mangus. Thank you. So we just left off on good news and then started talking about what's, our topic. And so what I think is that we should take a break. We should take a moment. That way Gil can make sure he's settled in. And we'll be right back here on New Thought Media Network.
Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Denver, for your continued support. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Midtown Atlanta, for your monthly contribution. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living North Jersey, for your monthly contribution. And please help us welcome Om Center for Spiritual Living in La Mesa, California. Thank you for your monthly donation. Thank you, Center for Spiritual Living Seattle, for your most generous donation. And a special thanks to Hefferlin Foundation for your generous technology grant. And Suze Ajit, thank you for your very generous donation. And a super special thank you to Dr. Tracy Brown, RSCP. Thanks for being a super donor. And a big shout out to all our committed donors.
Learn to put practical prayer to work in your life. The steps are simple to learn and let you begin to get real results to create the life of your dreams immediately. Reverend Bill Marchione's widely acclaimed book, Practical Prayer for Real Results, gives you a clear summary of the new thought principles behind practical prayer and the series of easy-to-understand steps found in the most effective prayers from religions and spiritual practices all over the world and throughout history. Practical prayer is not a replacement for your religion or practice. It's a technique to make the work you do in consciousness even more effective. The book includes 40 prayers on various topics that you can adapt as needed and use as your own. Practical Prayer for Real Results is available in paperback, Kindle, and audiobook on Amazon or at b-the-light.com. That's b-the-light.com.
Hello and welcome back. I am Robyn, and this is Rockin the Love. This is Michael Mangus. Who is
Hello there.
not
Yeah,
Gil.
we are having some technical difficulties. So I'm sending Gil my all-purpose tool, my all-purpose hammer, okay? And I'm sending him my duct tape. And if that doesn't work, then super glue, then Gorilla Glue.
There you go. See, life is so easy when you just break it down like that. So, yeah, go ahead.
I again, we were talking about the one couple that it was called idealistic ideation, and that again, it was one of the highest of again this couple that I did counseling with. That again, one of the highest scores. Great relationship, all that. But then I just said, what happens when shift happens? What happens when it hits the fan? What are you going to do when life is not the way that you again, life is not the way that you've planned?
Right.
Are you able again as a couple to work through things rather than split up? And I think that gives in the marriage commitment, I think that gives us again a deeper relationship, that we need to do everything possible again to stay in the relationship. And if not, again, can we part in love and peace? So, and I do a lot of weddings here in Ohio of second and third marriages. And so again, there's nothing held against anyone, nothing held against the couple. But again, it's just, so when there is white caps on the waves up on Lake Erie, and we're not fortunate enough to have the ocean here, but when we have sometimes the waves off of Lake Erie, which is the biggest body of water close to me,
Right.
I mean, it goes crashing onto the shore. I mean, 15, 20 feet going onto the shore. And so what do we do when that stuff happens? And again, some of the things that we've talked about today is, again, having a support team,
Practice.
having people that we can call. It was suggested recently that we have, this is suggested for the ministers, the new ministers that were just licensed, that we have a list of 5 people up on our refrigerator that we can call at any moment for anything. And I think that that's really, again, a really good thing. And it gets into this whole idea of community. I think the tendency in New Thought is we say, well, we should be quiet about it. We shouldn't get any feedback. And I think that, yes, and that if there's something wrong with my car, I'm going to tell my mechanic about it.
Right.
Okay, so that they can help and assist. So I think that there is a fine line between sharing everything and then again, just kind of keeping your counsel and then sharing it with just a few people who, again, can help you work through what's going on. So,
But I think you bring up a really good point, even if you didn't know that's what you were doing, because I think that it also demystifies it a lot. Like as a minister or as a mom or as a, whatever your role is, you sometimes feel like you're doing it alone. You sometimes feel like you're the only one going through it. And really, I mean, when you said 5 people, I think, wow, can you really think of 5 people that you would talk to in that situation or in that moment, And I think it's really important to have like those people you can go to that are going to assure you, I've been there, I've done that, I get it, you're not the only one. I mean, I think you're not the only one is really important because we tend to move into that place of thinking, I'm not doing it right, or depending upon what your story is,
right.
And I think that's so important to really, like my one of my best friends, my best friend will call me and go, I just need to talk to you, and I know that means she just needs to talk to me. Doesn't mean I have to have the answers. It doesn't mean I have to make her feel better. It doesn't mean I have to even do anything, but she needs me to be there. And, generally, obviously, I'll say something or I'll do something. And at the end, I'm like, okay, how can I support you? And she's like, you already have, because I've been there, I've listened. And whatever I said either made her feel better or move to a different place, even though it's not my intention to fix it or to give her the way to do it. It's more just being there and being empathizing, or being her having that space to allow whatever needs to come out to come out.
And I think that, again, to have those type of, as you do that to other people, to have those type of friends that do that to you when and I really, again, especially men, in relating to women, if they come up to you with the same thing and saying that I just need to talk, well, just sit there and listen. Sit there and just be a witness to whatever that is going on, rather than to do a very male-oriented thing and let's try to fix it.
Right.
Men try to fix stuff, and again, that will not work in a relationship. Again, if you can just be present for the individual and just say, I not only am listening, but I also hear what you're saying.
Right.
Let me see if I can bring back New Mexico here. New Mexico, go ahead. You're on the Rockin the Love here on the New Thought Media Network.
Can you hear me?
Yeah, we got you.
Okay.
Can you hear us?
I can hear you. I don't have your picture, and I couldn't. Michael was frozen, but I can hear you.
Okay, great.
Here we are.
So we're just talking about well, we left with Michael talking about how men feel like they have to fix it, fix the situation, especially, and we're really just talking about having a support team, and
yeah,
and
I would just
how it
comment
doesn't
on
always entail knowing the answer or being able to necessarily do anything different, but really generally just being there for somebody.
Yeah. Well, being in the uncertainty, I think, is, that really throws a wrench in being able to fix it, control it,
Yeah.
to make it work.
And that's where this topic came from, because right now, I'm going to speak for you. Gil is feeling like he's in a lot of uncertainty. Is it different than any other day? I don't know, but it feels like it. And that's all that really matters. So as he said before, he's got a 15-year-old living with him now. He's can't get moved into the place he thought he was going to live in because he's got to get a bigger place. So they're waiting to hear. And, he feels like he can't get to his stuff at work, and everything feels up in the air. So is that accurate?
It's pretty accurate.
Okay. So basically, it's not diminishing your situation, but it's not a unique situation. We've all had times where we're like, I can't go this way. I can't go that way. I don't know what I'm going to do. I can't afford to do that. Oh, I don't want to do that. Oh, I've never done that. Oh, what will that be like? All of those feelings that happen. And, so this conversation came up around,
I'm not hearing you anymore.
Did you say something, Gil?
Yeah, I said I wasn't hearing you.
I said the conversation came up around, look at what you do have.
Mm-hmm.
And so the conversation was, look at what's come up through the uncertainty, what you've manifested. And, so what that looked like is, well, he's manifesting a new place to be instead of being in the place that he was going to have to fix up and clean. And he's still going to do that, but now it becomes a project, and it can be a project of love and time and, and things like that. He manifested a trip to Costa Rica in May that's paid for. He manifested, I paid for it, but there was an appearance of not having any money. It's not like it just came out of the sky. It was from his wife, who really needs to take him really far away so that when we're together, people don't want to see us or have us do something else with somebody else. What else? What else did we talk about?
Just the, I don't know. What else did you talk about?
Well, Sherry Lynn brings up a good point, and hello, Sherry. When those things happen to me, I always ask, what am I to know in this moment? God is always speaking. And yes, that's pretty much where we landed in the conversation. It's like, so what is the point of all this? And what am I supposed to know, and how to get there? How to get there.
I think that's, and in talking about it, it's not it's an ever reminding, and then sometimes it's that process of of how much do I allow myself to feel the angst, and how much do I shift into a place of knowing the bigger picture. And I think part of the talking about it is to push myself to a place of knowing, well, what is it I need to know right now? If I know that, I'm good. I don't need to know anything else.
Yeah, maybe. I think I would disagree though on in that.
Really.
What do I need to know? What if you don't need to know anything? What I mean that I think, and I think that's sort of what Michael was speaking to in terms of like, I mean, not to generalize, and yes, men do like to fix things in conversations. If there's something wrong, they like to fix it, and I think it's the same thing. It's like based on that inquisitive and mind, you want to know. I mean, who knows? I mean, what do you need to know? What you know right now is that you're taken care of. You're not sitting under a tree at night in a sleeping bag wondering where you're going to sleep. You're deciding, oh, am I going to stay in the place I got that I need to fix up, or am I going to get a new 2-bedroom house? It's
Well,
you're
yeah.
taken care of. So on some level, can we let it go and trust what we say, that you're okay, you're taken care of, God is right there, it's going to unfold perfectly. And I
Yeah.
asked that question really without wanting to be airy fairy, but in some ways that's all you can be, is airy fairy. It's just the choice if or if you're going to stress out about it.
Mm-hmm. Well, and yeah, and I think it's not, for me, it's not being airy fairy. It's getting to the place of knowing, which allows me to relax into it's okay. But I was just sitting here realizing that I've lived in 5 different places in the last week and a half. 6 different places in the last week and a half, and maybe 2 weeks, and it's just crazy. 2 weeks, it's just crazy, and most of it was, well, I'm here, oh wait, I'm not here, wait, I'm there, okay, well, but that was good, let's see what else we can find.
But was there ever a moment where you weren't taken care of?
No.
Was there ever a moment where you were hungry, or couldn't get your food? You know what I mean? It wasn't,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, you know what I mean? So it's do you need to know, or can you just trust that, just like, you breathe in and then you breathe out, that you're taken care of, because that's the situation at hand. I mean, that's the level, in my opinion, that's the level of knowingness. Not that there's not a moment of, I don't know what's going to happen. What can I do? But at the end of the day, at the end of the moment, you breathe and you go, okay, God's got it. And, then how am I moving forward? And then it becomes,
Mm-hmm.
as Sherry said, I mean, then it becomes, you're asking God, as opposed to asking your want to know, need to know, how can I fix itself? So, Gil, if you're talking, are you talking?
No, listening.
Okay. Okay. All right. Well, it's hard to tell because you're frozen on my screen. We're just hearing your voice. It's like a radio show. So yeah, that's so so manifesting from the muck. So what is the next step? Okay. Are you still? Are you,
There he is. See, that's what happens. I come back in and then you get unfrozen.
Yeah, well, I can't tell you what's going on there because it's just wacky as all get out.
that's just me manifesting two men in my life.
Is that what it is?
Just kidding. So Sherry Lynn is asking the question, how do we manifest from muck?
Uh-huh. Well, in some ways, I think that's a misnomer. I mean, in the sense that, is it we who manifest, or is it we who recognize what's manifesting from the muck?
She says, or can we?
Can you hear me?
Yes,
Okay. Did you hear what I said?
I did.
Okay. Yeah, I think that's the question. Or can we? I mean, in a sense, yes, because we're co-creators and we're holding that truth and knowing that there's more than what we're seeing. And at the same time, that sense of knowing and knowing there's more than what we're seeing is being open to what comes forth from what we might have judged as muck.
Very philosophical. It's yeah. I think, well, here's what I know. I know that we only have a few minutes left. So based on our technical difficulties and other ramblings, we're not going to get to the exact maybe answer today. But I think there is such a great part of letting go that we have to do. And Sherry said to you, she said, great answer.
Yeah. Thank you, Sherry. I think it's there's just, we must do the inner work to know the truth, regardless of the situation we're in. I'm holding you in the light. Thank you. And I think that's more what it's about for me in this moment, is getting myself to the place where I can anchor into the inner work and trust it and allow it to whatever. But that's where the work is, if you will, the frustration, the need.
I think also, and I think also it depends on how we define it. I think that there, based on our our life stories, whatever we're carrying around with us, I think there's certain things, like, I'm going to use you as an example, Gil, that I know, you begin to feel like if something's happening, you're not doing a good job somewhere else, or you're not doing it right because you can't figure it out, or you don't know the next steps. And I think, like, the minute you hear that voice come up, or those voices, again, the work of Byron Katie comes to mind, in that, is that the truth? And how can it be the truth if God's got it, and God knows, and God is in all of it? And so I know that this isn't easy. I'm not saying it is, but I mean, how do you redefine it? Like, can it be defined as an adventure? Can it be defined as, a growing space? Like you've said before, can it be defined as answering some of those questions you have about not having been in a particular moment with your own children? Can it be defined as a redo? How can we make it so that we really do see the God in it, the opportunity in it, the love in it, the joy in it, and what is it here to teach me? You know, because God knows the quicker we learn what it's there to teach us, the less we have to do it over and over again, right?
Yes, I'm just beginning to think that, I'm missing some of those opportunities to learn. So
no, you're not, but it's like, do we have to learn the hard way? Through the pain and the pressure and the overwhelm and the depression and the or can that be the alarm clock that goes off, the alarm that rings, that you go up, okay, I hear that voice and I'm not going there this time.
Mm-hmm.
So, all good questions, and, definitely a subject that we should return to. And, as Sherry said, the inner work to know the truth regardless of the situation we are in. So that's the important thing. So Sherry is holding you in the light, and we are holding everyone in the light, and Sherry is too. But I'm just going off her comment because that's what we do. Reverend Sherry Lynn, Reverend Michael Mangus, Reverend Gil Olmsted, practitioner Robin Rice Olmsted. I mean, that is what we do, and that is, if you've ever wondered about practitioners or ministers, that is what we're doing. We're holding the light for everyone, and the question becomes, can we hold the light for ourselves? And how do we do that, and where do we start?
And I think at some level, the answer to that question is yes and no. I mean, I think we all need support at times. And that's why we have people, that's why we pray for others, is to support them. And so the same is true of ourselves when that shows up. Sometimes it's helpful to have someone else reaffirm what you ultimately know, but you may not be able to really buy into in the moment.
Yeah, and that's what Michael and I talked about while you were gone, and he brought up a great point about they told him to have 5 people on his refrigerator that he could call as a minister at any time. And it's that kind of thing for all of us. Like, who can we call? What can we do? Where do we go? What practice do we put in place? And so that's the question out there. And if you have answers, we'd love to hear them. Send them to us, email them to us, come back next week and let us know. And it's just know, though, that we are anchoring you. And the next step is to be able to make choices and anchor yourself in different ways, because we're all growing, we're all learning, to love and live together. So I think Gil is gone again.
No, I'm here.
Oh, you're just frozen again. Okay.
Maybe I am frozen, but yeah, perhaps it's because I haven't had a refrigerator that I could call my own for the last couple of weeks that I'm in trouble.
Okay. And there you have it. A dad joke from a dad in New Mexico. Okay. So we're going to just thank you so much. And I'm just so grateful. Thank you, Wayne. Thank you, Reverend Sherry. Thank you for being out there and listening. Thank you, Fiona. And those of you that are out there and holding the light and as well. And we just invite you to truly just rock the love this week. Look for new ways to rock the love. And we'll be together with you again next week, right here on New Thought Media Network.